Good morning. Hello and welcome to our prep call. It's March 12th. I can't believe how fast it came when we were planning this cleanse, and here we are. Time is moving at such a wild pace these days. And I just first want to say congratulations to every single one of you for being here live or watching the recording later. Asha and I were just talking about how it's just a very different, wild time. And this cleanse feels very different. And I feel really grateful to have everyone here to do this together and to share the process together and really step into taking care of our bodies. You can probably hear in my voice, those of you that know me, I actually am starting this cleanse with a cold. So it's such a funny thing because that's happened to me 2 times before. I've done this cleanse, I think 7 or 8 times, and 2 times before I have started the cleanse with a cold, leading the cleanse. So I find that very interesting information because it's most likely my body telling me, hey, you need a cleanse, right? And so I wanted to bring that into the space because, first of all, I might be sneezing and coughing. And second of all, because we all might find ourselves going through different physical processes as we're cleansing, because this is different. We have just gone through very intense 2 years. Some of us, including me, I have had COVID. Some of us have had other things come up. And so this cleanse is giving us an opportunity to really clear. And I see a couple other people have colds right now. There is a spring cold going around. There is. So it is something to think about. Yes. So welcome everyone. Today's call, this is what we're going to do. We're going to show you the ins and outs of the cleanse. We're going to talk about what to do with food. I encourage you to take some screenshots. I also am going to give you a little tour around the Facebook group because I know that it feels overwhelming, but there's a lot there and I want to make sure you all know how to use it. We also want to make sure that we have time. This call is scheduled for a half hour. It's probably going to go longer and I'm going to make an adjustment to that. Sandra was talking to me about that ahead of time, and I think we'll just make sure we schedule these calls for an hour so we have a chance to chat. So once we're through the PowerPoint, we'll open it up for all of you to share and ask questions and get clarity on anything that we didn't cover. Asha, did I?
Yeah, no, it was great. And welcome, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're at in the world or wherever you're at in your day. And if you're watching the replay, warm welcome to you as well. We're super excited you're here with us. I know I am, and I think Dana is too. Dana, can you make me a co-host so I can just help mute people as they
I
pop on?
actually can't. I just
Oh,
tried and it didn't tell me that option, but I can make you the host and we can flip it back and forth.
no, it's fine.
That option
Just
is,
if everybody could mute themselves, and if you have questions or comments, or you want to, put anything in the chat, we will definitely be looking at that at the end. But we just want to be mindful of people's time so that we can get through everything we want to share with you in a timely way. Thank you for that.
so let's get started. And, we were saying before we started the recording, like, we're excited to cleanse, which is such a wild thing, but it's exciting. And it's exciting to be in community. Even though we're meeting on Zoom, I still feel the energetics of the community and I'm grateful. So I just rolled a little of blue tansy on my wrists. And because I love the inspired action that this oil brings, but I invite you to just bring an oil in. Yes, we're talking about the cleanse, but bring an oil in. Breathe that oil that you want to work with. Take it in. You can chat about them in the chat thread with us. So the actual start date of our cleanse is Monday. I'm waving my hands because I want to make sure everyone says it's not today. Today is about prepping. Today is about going to the grocery store and getting the right foods that you were wanting for your process, right? And clearing out perhaps things in your home that you don't want in your house, right? So that is today. And then also mentally preparing and also really just getting the physical details of how to do this cleanse, okay? So let's go to the next page. I thought we'd start here. What do I do about food? I think this is probably everyone's biggest question. What do we want to do about food? And we have levels for you because not everyone's coming to this cleanse with the same health. And not everyone has the same time and energy to maybe prep for level 3, for example, right? And so we have options here. So level 1 is sticking with the supplements and really sticking with a heavier load of water than you usually do, really making sure you're really utilizing water. Water
Mommy,
is
did you know that's the one?
Hold on.
uh-oh, I try. Okay. So level 1, that is probably, I've shared that I've done this cleanse 7 or 8 times. I have done this, I think the last time I did it, I just did level 1, right? So there's no like, oh, I have to do level 2 or 3. It's just what is your life going to allow for, and what is your motivation, and what can you really stick with, right? What can you
Yeah,
really
what's
commit?
realistic for you, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So level 2 is a basic elimination guideline. So this means like taking out caffeine, alcohol. Perhaps you want to take out sugar, right? That's an elimination diet. And also maybe even different kinds of flours, right? So we talk about like taking out the whites, the sugars, the flours, the things that are inflammatory in our bodies, giving ourselves a 30-day pause. As a practitioner, I love elimination diets because it helps us realize that we might have a sensitivity to something that we didn't know about. We might see how much better we feel. I also like to offer modifications within this level. Let's say you don't want to do the full elimination diet, but you have some poor habits with certain foods that you're wanting to readjust. Like I eat chocolate at night. That's something I'm working on during this cleanse. I know now that I was gifted an Aura ring that actually makes my heart rate not settle at night. I have the proof now, right? So I'm also going to take out dairy from my diet for these 30 days. But I'm not going to do the full elimination diet, right? So these are options, and I'm just suggesting, I'm sharing what I'm doing because it helps, right, to think about options. And then level 3 is the Whole30 program. Now, this Whole30 program can be done. There's like a more vegetarian option. It is possible. Just I want you all to know I'm not a huge meat eater, so I like to speak on behalf of those. But it is heavier towards eating lots of protein. And we have all of that for you in the Facebook group, all of the specifics and recipes too. I do want to say to you that the recipe thread in the Facebook group is not geared only for Whole30. It's just everyone contributing. And so we welcome your recipes. Share what you're cooking, share what you're making, share what you're preparing for at home. Someone is not muted and I can't find you. So
Virginia. Virginia, if you could mute that, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure will.
thank you. Asha, would you want to add anything to this page? Because I know you have
No,
lots
I think you
listening.
covered it. I think, no shame. Let's just be realistic so that we can have a sustainable experience for the 30 days. And that's not to say that, hey, you start at 1 and you're inspired, in the cleanse. You're looking at what people are eating and you want to bump it up, and you can do that. But I would just say there's no pressure and everybody's welcome wherever you're at.
Great. Why don't you talk about this one, Asha?
I
Because you're
just got excited. I wanted to show you guys this because I think sometimes we forget, all the different colors, about foods. So eating the rainbow is a whole philosophy. And not only that, doesn't it make you feel good? Like how many people just looking at this, it like opens your heart. It gets me excited to make better choices. So that's a big part of this cleanse, this 30-day opportunity is making better choices for ourselves. And so I just wanted to share this picture with you because it made me excited and just reminded us, right, of how many other things that we can add at the grocery store. Sometimes we get stuck in ruts and we just buy the same thing over and over.
I get stuck in ruts so much. That's one of the things I love about this cleanse is seeing your recipes, seeing your foods, and really learning together. It's very inspiring to me. I always walk away with a new recipe that becomes a staple fold in our households. So let's look at the nuts and bolts. I hope you can see this. This is on both the website, the Essential Wellness website, and our Facebook group, okay? This is the piece that I really think you should print out. If you click on the image and then hit download, it will print out clear. I know some people were having trouble printing it out. It will print out clear if you download the image. So do reach out if you need help with that. We can always private message it to you on Facebook. So our baseline is the lifelong vitality. Okay, that is something that you can see here we take for all 30 days. Hopefully, if this is your first time joining this cleanse, you've had a little bit of time already taking in the lifelong vitality. Because that in itself, when you first start that, can feel a bit like a cleanse. People can have a bit of a cleansing experience, which means sometimes some detox things come up. Okay, so that is our baseline. That is something that we take every single day, and we take that in the morning and at night. I like to separate that out into 2 doses. Okay, then we can go and see that this is going to calculate our days that we are shifting things, right? So days 11 through 20 is when we make the big shift. And I'm going to go through this in the more specifics. So don't worry if you can't read these little guidelines. I just want you to print this out, okay? The other thing that we're going to be doing every single day is the Zendocrine Complex. Is there anybody here on the call who does not have their Zendocrine Complex yet? Okay, good. Everyone's prepared because they just, yesterday it has been run out. So we have a plan B for you. If you don't have it, do let us know, okay? The other thing that we take for the entire time is Arterizyme. And this is one of the reasons why we made a suggestion of getting 2. Arterizyme is your friend. Arterizyme is if you start to feel unwell or maybe a little backed up or having problems processing some of the supplements, Arterizyme will help you. So this is one of the reasons why we say 5 a day. Okay, so this is a little bit different than what's in the recommendation. So I want you to take note that we really recommend 1 first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. That's going to help move through the undigested bits of food that might be sitting there. It's wonderful. You can take more if you need more, but we're starting at 1. And then 1 with each meal. So hopefully we're eating 3 meals. This is not a cleanse where we're not eating. We are eating food. To take this many supplements, we need to have food in our body to integrate with that. Okay? And then we do want to take 1 before bed. So that's 5 a day of the Arterizyme. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention specifically on this page that we take every day is the lemon in our water, right? So if you're brand new, you're going to start with 1 or 2 drops in a nice big glass of water. But if you've been here a while, you can, and you know what you can do, you can bump that up. Okay, that's one of our wonderful ways of detoxifying and helping our body actually create more glutathione, and glutathione is really helpful for our body to detoxify. So citrus oils. So let's say you have other citrus oils in your, we just had a huge sale last month on citrus oils. You can use all of them. We're just saying lemon here because it's what comes with the kit, but you can use any citrus oil you want in your water. And I encourage you to really take that up and see what just that does. Asha, do you want to say anything else about this page, or let's get into the deets? What do you think?
One little thing I wanted to share about the Arterizyme is you know yourself. What Dana suggested is the cleanse suggestion is 5 a day, and that is fantastic. But if you're newer to doTERRA and you're newer to the supplements and you want to start with 3 a day and work up, that's fine too. So just, I think it's important for us to understand ourselves, right? And to know your tendencies and your histrionics. We don't know that. So I just wanted to give you that option.
Great. Yeah. And also, I want to remind you that we're here together. So when things come up, reach out. Reach out to the person who invited you to this cleanse. If you're on Facebook, reach out on Facebook if you feel comfortable doing so. The more that we share what's coming up with one another, the more that we will all learn. Because if it's happening for you, I guarantee you, someone else has had that experience. I guarantee it. So let's look at where we're starting. We're starting in phase one, which is called activate. Okay. I will talk through this one so you have a sense of it. This is a great thing to screenshot. It goes in the specifics, right? So we begin with honor and gratitude for our bodies. We must remember that. We must not enter into this process with frustration or even anger at our own bodies, right? So we want to begin with,
Excuse me, Deanna? Hi. If you could self-mute, that would be awesome. Thank you.
and then we do our lifelong vitality pack. So we're going to do 2 of those in the morning with our meal and 2 in our afternoon meal. And then here's our Arterizyme schedule that I spoke with you about. And then our Zendocrine Complex. It's going to do 1 in the morning and 1 in the PM. So yes, you can take that with your lifelong vitality. You can take those together. Okay. And then our soft gel or oil. Some people have asked me, I have the oil. Yes, you can make capsules. I actually don't know how many are in there. I need to look that up. Does anyone here know? If you can tell us. So I think it's
We'll put
3
it in the chat.
or 4 drops. Yeah, you can put that in the chat.
Nikki Dean says 2 drops, but that
Oh, it's
seems
only
tiny.
Drop Zendocrine in a gel cap.
okay. All right. So 2 drops. Yeah, DDR Prime has 5 in there, so that's why they are different. So Zendocrine, okay, 2 drops in the soft gel. And you can also try drinking it in your water if you love the way it tastes, which I do, and I know that some do not. Lemon oil in your water, right? So you can citrus. So here's just speaking what I just said, 2 drops to 8 ounces of water 5 times a day for a total of 10 drops. But start slow. Please, if you're new, start slow. Usually this cleanse is very gentle. And the only time we see problems is if we do too much. This is Dr. Josie's too much, too soon, too fast. And so just keep that in mind. Okay, it's lots of water through the day. So let's look at the next. Our reset phase. This is where we're committed and curious. This is where things start to get moving around and our product that we bring in starts to kill off little bugs and different things. I think of it as a huge part of our cleanse, our GX Assist. So I'm not going to go through this whole thing with you. You can grab this from the Facebook group. But this is what we do is we change out the Zendocrine oil for the GX Assist. Now, I want to talk about the GX Assist, so I'm gonna go to here. This is what the GX Assist looks like, right? So we stop the Zendocrine and the GX Assist. If you're new, start with 1. Absolutely, GX Assist is the one thing that starts to really work the gut, right? And this is an amazing thing. You know, like I'll take a GX Assist if I eat sushi, for example, right? We never know what's in sushi, right? Parasites and things like that. GX Assist is potent and powerful. So you can go up to 3 a day for sure, but start with 1. I really recommend us all starting with 1 to just see where we're at today, even if you've done this cleanse before. Just start with 1, and then if all's well, you can move forward. Asha, do you want to say anything about that?
I just have a joking in my mind. GX Assist is kind of like Roto-Rooter. Like this is the one that gets in the trenches of the colon, the large intestine, and really roots out and cleans. You know how we do spring cleaning in the house? Everyone feels motivated to clean and get rid of things they don't need. GX Assist and the cleanse are that for the body, mind, right? So I love that suggestion to start at least for the first 2 days with 1 and then bump it up to the full dose if you feel good. And that also, Dana said it a couple times, but I just want to second that this is really an opportunity for you to tune into yourself. So maybe having a period of your day where you're contemplating how you're feeling, taking a few minutes in the morning and at night to check in with yourself.
And then we'll go into our last phase. So just from the big picture out, each phase is 10 days. 10 days, 10 days, 10 days. It's a 30-day process. Okay, so our last 10 days. And this, I'm going to just say, this is where people fall off. So stay the course. Stick with it, because this is where we're replenishing. We're bringing in the DDR prime, which is going to really help us on so many levels. And we will talk about that in our weekly talks. We'll talk about what the products are doing and how they're working in our body. But that DDR prime is valuable. And the PB Assist, our probiotic, we want to nourish after we've had the Roto-Rooter. So stay through the course for sure in our renew, right? So I complete my commitments with full effort of will, heart, and body. That's our mantra for this last phase. And
I love that.
we want to stay the course, right? So this is where, put it in your calendar, the support calls. Carve out, I made them originally 30 minutes because the 30 minutes will be the bulk of the talk, and then we'll have some time to chat after. But see if you can carve that 30 minutes out to get the education and the inspiration to stay the course, right? And then let's move on to our, this slide is not, hold on, let me fix it.
Okay.
Yay.
Oh, wait, pull it up a little. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so now we're going to talk about supporting our pathways of elimination. I'm not sure if you were able to join me on the introduction class that I did on the cleanse, but I talked about the elimination pathways. It's been spoken about many, many times. Dr. Rose, Dr. Josie, everybody talks about this, right? Basically, we have 3 huge vehicles of elimination in the body: our lungs, our skin, and our digestive tract, right? And so when I make these suggestions, these aren't like, oh, that's cute, that's nice. We're really encouraging you guys. This is serious. The more we do to support these pathways, the more successful the cleanse will be for you. So these are for you, okay? So if you have access to a sauna, if you have a gym or a sauna space, I know in Portland they have these amazing places to go in sauna. That is a wonderful practice to do, once or twice a week during the cleanse if you can. Taking hot baths. If you don't have access to a sauna or hot tub and you want to just take hot baths with Epsom salts, that's great too. Make sure you're sweating. So get some exercise in. Even if you're not like super in great cardio shape, it doesn't matter. It can be a walk, a vigorous walk. Swing your arms, get your hands above your heart and walk a little faster than your normal pace and you'll sweat. You don't have to be dripping, but you're going to help the system with its elimination pathway opening. So I'm a huge fan and I've been studying Ayurveda since I lived in India. And I'm a big proponent of the tongue scraper. So this is something that you might want to acquire because it's really inexpensive. I bought a copper one just like the one shown at TJ Maxx for $5 the other day. But they have them on Amazon. They have them at Target now. They're everywhere. They're usually metal. Copper is really nice medium if you adhere to Ayurveda. But you see the tongue. Most people have a white, waxy coating on their tongue. And another term in Ayurveda that we use is alms or toxins. This coating is showing a toxic load on the tongue in the mouth. And so after you brush your teeth, it's advised to take a metal tongue scraper and drag it along the tongue gently. It's not hard. 2 to 3 times. And you start to remove this film and you start to bring fresh, lively cells to your tongue. It helps with your oral health. It helps with bad breath. It's a lovely little add-on for our detox process. Second thing I want to talk about is dry brushing. This is an awesome practice. I've been doing it for over 20 years. You can see that little brush that's silhouetted there. It's nothing expensive either. You can buy this almost anywhere. I swear, almost even in your grocery store. It's like a soft bristle, right? And this really supports our lymphatic system, which is a huge part of our cleansing process, right? We want the lymphs to move and drain. It helps with digestion. It helps with exfoliation, with cellulite, just helps slough off old cells so that new cells can replenish. So it adds to our complexion. What we do is we do these short brushing strokes, and I'll show this on the page in more detail at some point in the first week. I'll pop on and do a little video. All the brushing is going towards your heart. So in your arms, up your legs, right? Everything is scooping towards the heart. And so we do this, by the way, before you bathe. So you dry brush before you jump in the shower, or you dry brush before you get in the tub. The last practice that I would love it if you would investigate and actually do during this process, especially during phase 2, would be the Castor Oil Pack. I know Dr. Louise is also a huge fan of Castor Oil Pack, and she has videos explaining how to do it and best practices. But you basically get a piece of white wool and the oil that's called castor oil, and you soak that white wool in the castor oil. It takes a few minutes, and then place that over the abdomen. But before you place it over the abdomen, I like to apply essential oils. So some of my favorites are the Zendocrine Oil Blend, and geranium, an amazing for the lymphatic system, but also for female, and not just female, I shouldn't have said that, hormone balancing. Men have an endocrine system as well, and grapefruit. So if you rub some of that over your belly, and then you place the castor oil pack, and then it's kind of awkward, but you wrap saran wrap around yourself, put a towel over it, and then maybe either a hot water bottle, or if you have a, what's that called? One of the electric ones that plugs in. Heating pad. Yes, thank you. Heating pad. That's what I did. And then you sit. Make sure you have a lot of water. You have something to read. Try not to be on your phone. Maybe if you could make it an analog time. You sit there for an hour. I remember I shared this recently. I did it a few months ago, and I thought I would be there an hour, and after 2 hours, I didn't even want to get up. It really helps to de-stress us as well. Okay. So those are some things that we want to really encourage you to partake in during this cleanse.
So I just want to make mention that we have a whole section on the Facebook group with extra practices that has a printout of the castor oil packs and exactly what to do from Dr. Rose that you were mentioning. Good. And we have a diagram on how to do the dry brushing on there. So when we're done with these slides, I'm going to take a moment to just show you all where those things are, and so that you can access them. Yeah.
Perfect. And so we're not saying you have to do everything, but pick a few. Definitely add some of these things in. And then I just wanted to mention that we're not just cleansing the physical body. Emotions can come up. Anxiousness can come up. We have no idea how much we've been processing and retaining over the last 2 years, and maybe it's your lifetime if this is your first cleanse, right? So I really want to encourage restorative and stress management practices, taking time for breath work, taking time to do, I love this diagram at the top of this page, legs up the wall it's called, or if you're not comfortable with your legs straight up, if your hamstrings are a little tighter, you can put them on a chair or on your bed and put your hand over your heart, maybe one over your belly, and just focus on your breath for 5-10 minutes. This is an incredible way to relieve tension. Meditation. And I'm not saying you need to meditate for an hour every day. I mean, if you're new, maybe it's 2 to 3 minutes. I'm going to be popping on the group periodically, talking about different affirmations and staying positive and having some positive thoughts to focus on. Gentle movement like qigong or yoga or walking is really, really beneficial during the cleanse. And then at the bottom, I just put some of my favorite oils that are really supportive for reducing stress. So I love Adaptive, Balance, Bergamot, Roman Chamomile, Frankincense, Serenity, cedarwood, and vetiver. These are some really powerful choices if you are, experiencing some anxiousness or stress at all during the cleanse. And of course, these can be used aromatically and topically. Go ahead, Dana.
I just want to add to this section where not only will emotions possibly show themselves and stress show themselves, but we also might see in our world other areas that we might want to be cleansing, like our car. I know our car needs a cleansing. Some maybe possibly a kitchen drawer or a closet. This is a good time, right? We're in spring energy soon. We're just moving so close to spring. This is my favorite time to cleanse. This is where everything starts anew. So some of that spring cleaning we might also want to take to the external, right? So I just wanted to mention that. Let's pause for a moment while I look up the Facebook group, and maybe Asha, you could take a few questions, or if there's anything in the comments that we need to address, and I'm going to pull up the Facebook group for us to just get a little tour, okay?
Sure. I was just writing into the chat, but I'll share it here, that I will be popping on the Facebook group periodically and offering maybe a few minutes of light stretching, maybe a couple meditations, definitely some mindfulness practices and some positive affirmations. I find those really, really helpful. And so look for that, check in with the Facebook group periodically. If you could check it once a day or every other day, you're going to have some little goodies there to support you. Does anyone have any questions so far?
I have a comment. Oh, sorry. Did you just call someone else?
That's okay.
I have a question. Dana, you mentioned, and I've seen this happen before, but that when some people start taking the LLV, that can have a cleansing effect. How long can that go on before you wonder if there's an issue with that? And I'll tell you specifically, I had someone who had about a month of a lot of elimination, and she got scared, so she went off of it. And is that a normal response to go on that long?
So what's normal is the statement. But not really. Usually there is a slowing down of any particular symptoms that are showing up, or I should say, and perhaps that person had some constipation issues or some backup and actually really needed that. We do have an alternate protocol and a slow down protocol. So there's a new guide in the Facebook group and also on the Essential Wellness group for ways to slow things down if you're uncomfortable with the symptoms that are coming up. So usually if that happens with someone, I'll tell them to slow down and do a half dose. If that doesn't work, then we look at the different individual, because there's 3 in the Lifelong Vitality, right? We have our vitamin, our omegas, and then our fire hose of inflammation, the alpha CRS. So often it's that one, but it's not always that one. And sometimes we play around with some of the other supplements when people are having some reactions. And that's where getting on the phone and actually having a wellness consult is really encouraged and valuable to do at that point if you're not sure, because we have options. doTERRA supplements are incredible. I am so grateful for them every single day in our household. And so we have a lot of options. So sometimes it takes just a few moments, or I should say weeks, to figure out what is the right formula for someone. Does that help you, Nikki?
I wanted to piggyback on that. Nikki, I'm so glad that you brought that up too, because oftentimes I won't even let someone start this cleanse unless they've been on the LLV for at least 2 weeks, preferables a month. So if you're starting everything from scratch Monday, yeah, you're going to really notice a lot of changes. And I also wanted to mention that what Dana said is so important. I had someone cleansing with us a couple years ago who had a really strong reaction, and she never reached out to me. She never asked for help. And it wasn't good, and she went off of it and thought, oh, this is bad. This cleanse is a reflection of us, of where we're at, right? And what we need. And everybody's different. Everybody's in a different place, right? So there's no judgment, there's no bad. It's just ask, please reach out to us if you need or want support.
All right. I think I'm going to take us on a little tour. I hope that will be helpful. Oh, thank you, Aisha, for putting that proper link in there. So there's a link to the group if you're not in there. And listen, I know that Facebook is a lot, right? We go on to check in our healthy group and then suddenly we see all these other comments and things. So I do recommend going to the Facebook group first if you're going there for the cleansing information, okay? Can you see it? Did it come through? You see the Facebook?
Yes, we're seeing it. We're with you.
Okay, great. I couldn't tell. Thank you. So when you first get to the page, it comes usually to the discussion. You see this, and it looks a little different if you're on your phone. I just want to make mention of what it looks like when you're on your phone. The titles of the different chapters are not on the top like that. But they're just in little bubbles. They look very similar. So it comes to the discussion page. That means if you just come to the group and you have a question, it'll pop up on the discussion page. So I could say, as an example, create post, hi everyone, how are you doing today, right? And you could all comment on that on the discussion group. Where the helpful, interesting place to go to is called guides. You see that little section? That's where you want to go to orientate yourself so you can see. Guide 1 is welcome and get prepared. This is maybe where you want to spend some time. This is last year's best steps to prepare. So we'll put up this recording in here later today. And you can see all of the practitioners that are here. This is where we have our next guides, right? Dietary Guidelines. This is where all of the information is for Whole30. You see all of this. Our meal plan, how to eat out now that many of us are eating out again, the rules. There's a lot, right? And then here we have guide 4 is our actual activate. Okay. You can see all of our guides, and I'm going to just scoot down through the 3 phases. Sorry about that. To our extra practices. This is what I was speaking about, our castor oil packs. There's a couple other things to explore here, like our habits and mindset shifts. Excuse me, I need to pause. I want to make mention of the Soleil. This is one of my favorite practices to turn to hydrate. And you can look at this and see that there are 2 ways you can do it. You can start off the day with a nice big glass of it. I like to add my citrus to it at that point. Or you can drink it throughout the day.
No, I said maybe it's the Bluetooth.
And that's really all that's there. Is that helpful to you guys to see that? Okay, I just wanted to come back and check on you. Let me just go back to the group for 1 sec. You see our calendar. Here's the when stuff comes up. Constipation, possibly diarrhea, and maybe a rash. This is something that can happen. It's not common, but it can happen. Aisha, will you speak about the detox pathway of the skin while I just write myself, and I'll come back. Are you there?
Oh, yes. Sorry,
Okay.
I muted myself. I forgot I had muted myself. Sure. Yeah. So our largest organ is our skin, right? We've all heard that before. And so and it's one of the main pathways of elimination in the body. So it's one of the places that as things are starting to release, you can notice a shift in the skin. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be a rash and something bad. It could be that it starts glowing or you're sweating more freely, right? There's some positive things that can happen as well. But another section that an area that stuff can happen is the lungs are also an elimination place, right? And so sometimes there can be congestion that happens, or a cough can come during this process because the lungs are also purifying and releasing. So we have options if there's a rash. There's these great charts that Dana made for things to do. But again, you can also back up or pause, take a pause from the supplements and drink more water. Also, notice how much sleep you're getting. Make sure that you're getting good rest. The body, this is a lot of work that's happening. This cleansing process is a huge physiological thing that's happening in the body. And so we really want to prioritize our stress management and sleep to support the body so that it can show up and do what it needs to do. Okay.
Thank you. I'm better now. That's what happens when you have a cold and you talk for a while. But those things, they don't always come up, and I don't want to say them to scare you. I just want you to be prepared so that you know what is, right? Nikki asked what's normal. It's normal to have reactions as we're moving forward. And it's so sad when someone doesn't reach out at that point for help, because usually we're on the right track, right? Usually it means something's happening that needed to happen, but not always. Sometimes we actually do need to pause and listen to what our body is saying. And so we wanted to make sure we cover that for us. This is such a gentle cleanse when we listen to our bodies and give it the space. So yes, 30 days, but maybe it lasts a little longer for you. Maybe you realize you have to pause and come back to it. I have seen every situation happen with this cleanse where someone's, okay, I have to pause, I'm having a lot come up, and then they go back to it, and it's a completely different experience. When this cleanse was first created, it was created to actually do twice a year as a way to really nourish and stabilize and cleanse out anything we need to. So this is a wonderful process to, one, get in touch with where you're at right now, to know ourselves better, to learn about what works for us, what doesn't, and to really have a process where we write down what we learn so that it supports us in our healthy lifestyle. So that when on day 30 comes, we don't just step back into our old habits, that we actually have learned something new and we integrate that into our life and our daily health habits.
I was just going to say, it would be such a good opportunity to journal. And I don't mean you have to write 3 pages. I just mean maybe a paragraph each day that you say how you're feeling, what you've noticed. Because a lot is going to happen in the 30 days, right? And we forget, we're so busy. We forget what happened in the beginning, or how I was feeling, or maybe I was really tired and now all of a sudden I have energy. So that might be something that you want to write down so that you can learn from it.
We never remember how bad we feel when we start feeling better. It's really true. It's actually a beauty of being a human being, is that we just, oh, I'm doing better. And then our habits are here. So bringing that awareness and that understanding about our habits and what we've shifted and changed and what feels good and what do we want to take with us. So I see some questions about how often to do a castor oil pack. Asha, what would you say? Like once a week?
Well, you know, some people would do it. I'm not kidding you. I know people that do it every day if they're going through a cleanse. So, I mean, you could do it daily. You could do it once a week. You could do it twice a week. It's really going to nourish the gut. So if we're right, we're working with the herbs from the inside, and then this way, it's not just the gut though, it's your nervous system, right? All the way into our nervous system. This lands. So that's really bringing up the parasympathetic. So this is where this cleanse really gets more into the mental emotional as well, right? If you're someone who's been dealing with a lot of anxiousness or depression over the last couple years or whatever, castor oil packs, it doesn't seem like much, but I'm telling you, it's incredible. So you can do it daily, you could do it once a week, twice a week, but please give it a try. I just wanted to mention that I'm so grateful that you guys are all here, that we're doing this together. It, for me, it is a profound gift from our team to have this community, this container. Like, we're here for each other, right? It's accountability. I'm a yoga teacher, so I notice it's, if you're at home on your mat, you may not do the full practice, right? You talk yourself out of it. You might not stay in the pose for 5 breaths. But when you're in the class, you show up. You show up differently for yourself. So thank you for being here and for joining our cleanse. I think you're muted, Dana.
Yes. So Aisha was going to take us for a little spin on the website too. Thank you for that. And actually, can you mention the fibers and the greens? Because I know that there's an image there as the extras, since I just took us off the Facebook page. So we do have some extra supplementation things. You know, we have our doTERRA fibers and our greens. I think yesterday our greens went on out of stock, but if you have them, bring these into the cleanse. This is a wonderful addition. And we will talk more about that on Tuesday. Tuesday's our first support call, right? We start on Monday. Tuesday we meet for the first time. We'll talk a little bit more about the details of what those do then.
Just a little personal tip about the greens. I have to tell you guys, I've been doing a little pre-cleanse prep myself. I did 10 days of blending. I didn't want to deal with cleaning the juicer. Blending celery, 4 stalks of celery with a drop of lemon. I blended it in my Vitamix with a cup of water and drank that every morning for 10 days. That was incredible. I noticed big shifts. And then I started doing a big thing of the greens every morning. And I have to tell you guys, I know we're all different. I feel so much more energy. A lot more energy. So if you're looking for raising your energy, please work with the greens. Powder. Aisha, you there?
Maybe she's prepping, just pulling it up because
Okay.
I just kind of threw that at her. But
Let's see if
some
there's any
questions are,
questions.
Contessa Beth is asking, if we forget to take the 5 Arterizyme spaced out, is it okay to take 2 or 3 at a time or wait to get back on track? It's a great question. I don't recommend trying to shove all your supplements in at once if you've forgotten to take them, as well as also the Arterizyme. So just start back on track the next day. Maybe you can add 2 that night as your final if you've remembered, but I wouldn't do more than that. You might just get a little bit of a flushing. Maybe you need it. You'll see Arterizyme helps move things through. It really helps. It is something that we, in our household, this is not something we use only on the cleanse. We use these all the time. I take 5 a day every single day, just so you know. Yeah. Aisha, are you ready to take us on a spin?
Oh, sure. I had to plug my computer and it was almost dying.
I appreciate you stepping in at the last second. I know you weren't prepared to do so.
Of course. Let me just share my screen here. First of all, I do want to say thank you so much to both of you for, you need to make me a host, for leading us. I want everybody to know this is an amazing cleanse and you're in the best of hands with Dana and Asha and the rest of the team and whoever invited you. we all have lots of experience with this process, and it is so effective. And I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of this other resource. Can I share now? Okay, here we go. Okay, so I want to make sure that you're all aware that we have an amazing team website. You can either go to hellovisionary.life and or the essential wellness .life. They're kind of linked together. So I know sometimes that can create a little bit of confusion, but if you go to the front page of either site, it's going to bring you here. This is where all of the team recordings, if you miss a call, the recordings will be posted within 24 hours on this page. All of the graphics and all of the extra information is here. You can also access this page later in the year if you want to go through the process on your own. So we just want to make sure that beyond Facebook, you are aware of this resource, because I know some of you aren't on Facebook a lot as well. And so you want to make sure that you know where to get everything. So I'm just going to stroll through it really quickly. The call that we're doing right now will be posted by tomorrow. So that will be here. And then we just have some, information about the cleanse. We do have these really great calls from previous that are on here now that have a lot of information. If you missed the call that Asha did a few weeks ago, that is here. And then we have the simple steps to go through. We also recommend that you opt in to the text alerts. This is going to give you reminders about the calls, and also put them on your calendar. This is going to be really helpful. So, like part of your planning today is to put everything on your calendar and get it all ready so you're supporting yourself. It's really helpful, as Dana said, especially in those you get really excited, you get into the cleanse, you start doing it, you're all ready to go. And then a few weeks goes by and it's easier to start getting a little lazy and falling off. And that's when you want to come to the call so you can get that motivation to keep going. And then the graphics are here. And like we said, we're recommending that you bring in the green powder and the fiber. And I know they're going to talk more about that, but these are amazing products to help supplement the cleanse and keep your body nourished. And then we have the dates. If you are not on the Facebook group and you need to find the link, we did put it in the chat, but if you click here, that's going to take you straight to the Facebook group. And and we have the dates here. We have information about our different practitioners that have led the cleanse through the years. Here is the graphic that Dana shared, as well as a calendar. We just have it in different formats because I know sometimes brains see things differently. So it's kind of the same information, just in different formats. And then at the very bottom, we have all of the graphics that you can look at, and a few recipes. And then here are the graphics about if stuff comes up, what to do. And do know stuff can come up and it doesn't mean that it's bad, it's information. If you get a rash, if you get diarrhea, if you get constipation, it doesn't mean you should stop. It means that is valuable information to be aware of and get support about what can you do to help move through that. But it also might be really clearing some stuff out of your body that needs to be cleared. So it's not a bad thing if that happens. So please know that. Oftentimes we get people that will get a rash or get diarrhea or get, constipated. And they're like, oh, I'm not going to stop. Something's going wrong. But this is actually information from your body that can be very helpful. So anyway, here's a beautiful blend. If you just want something to help you emotionally. I do actually there was a question about working on depression, and this is not part of the cleanse. I hope it's okay that I add this in, Asha and Dana. I know a lot of us are struggling a lot with depression and anxiety with just all the global pressures. I absolutely love the adaptive products. And so you could consider bringing in the adaptive line and integrating that in if you do need some extra mental, emotional support during the cleanse. And I think that's all. Anything else you want to add to that, Dana? Okay, great. Let me stop the share and I'll pass it on back over to you.
Thank you, Aish.
So you have now really seen all the support that's there and all the different possibilities and ways because like Aisha said, we all work differently. Our brains, our eyes, our everything integrates things differently. So someone might be on the Facebook group, someone might be on the website, but we're really set up to support you in all those areas. Someone asked, who do you get a wellness consult with? So the person that introduced you to doTERRA, that is really ideally your second step once you've gotten your oils is to have a wellness consult. So start there. Start with the person who introduced you. If they're not sure how to handle that process during that, then come to us and we can support you. Okay? So start with your supporting person and then, reach out to the extended community. And the Facebook group, we're also here to help. But sometimes we really need to sit and have an hour wellness consult and really look at everything that you're doing, what you've taken in the past, what you're eating, and really have that personal one-to-one time with someone. Okay. Any other questions?
I have a quick question for Asha. Can you tell me, is it okay to brush your tongue or are there benefits of actually getting the scraper?
Yeah, that's a great question. I know I have done that before in the past when I didn't have my scraper on me, but there is something that happens specifically with the scraper in the doing it 3 times that is very effective. It does an even thing and it's gentle too, you guys. It's not like intense. You're not bearing down on it in any way. All I know is I think it's more beneficial to use the scraper rather than brushing just because of the process. And I have to say it works really fast, you guys. You'll see a difference in a couple days. Oil pulling is also wonderful, but that takes 20 minutes. Not everybody has 20 minutes to walk around swooshing oil in their mouth. So if you're going to pick one, I would say the scraper. But I think there's something about the brushing that's kind of massaging to the tongue too. So I don't think it's a bad thing, Aish. Happy prepping, everybody.
There's another question I just want to acknowledge. Deborah is asking if she should stop her supplements such as fish oil and vitamin D. So your fish oil is in your omega in your lifelong vitality. So you can stop taking that. If you have not gotten your lifelong vitality, then you should still take it. But you can stop taking that. Vitamin D is in our supplementation, but if you have to take a higher level, then take the vitamin D that you are taking. I really recommend personally trying to get 10 minutes of sun, early morning sun, like 8 a.m., 6 to 8 a.m. sun for another layer of vitamin D supplementation that actually our body makes, ideally. That's my suggestion as well. So you can do both.
Can I just make a comment?
Absolutely.
I am so happy for you guys to do this. Thank you so much for letting me come in. I'm an outsider, but I'm on the inside. I have struggled with this cleanse numerous times, and I'm always confused about what is the actual dosage of the LLV that an individual should take. And I have tons and millions of questions. And so this gives me resources where I can start to get them answered. Thank you.
Oh, yay. That's great. I'm so happy.
We're so glad you found us, Susan.
Can I add just a few more thoughts too?
Please.
Sure. I just want to say, especially if you're new, what's great about this cleanse, I've done a lot of cleansing in my life, and this is actually a really simple and effective cleanse. And so if you haven't done this already, think about what your actual goals are. It's totally okay to do the phase 1 where you're drinking more water and you're taking the supplementation. Like that alone is a huge step, maybe getting a little bit more movement through the day, but get clear with yourself about what your steps are. Even if you just want to remove gluten or remove sugar, and not get overwhelmed, because there's a lot of information here. So I know sometimes it can get easy to get really overwhelmed with all of it and then we tend to shut down when we get overwhelmed. So again, I just want to give you all permission that it's okay just to do simple steps, even if it's just that you're taking the supplementation and drinking more water. And then the other thing I want to say about this cleanse is that I actually continue to take most of these supplementations, and I have for the last 11 years. And so we're doing this process a couple of times a year to kind of reset our system and bring a lot of consciousness to it. But I'd also highly recommend that you don't just stop at the end of the 30 days and that you do consider continuing to take the LLV and the DDR prime, especially with the climate that we're living in right now, with the amount of stress, the amount of toxicity. We're really living in a time where we do need that extra support in our system. And if you're dealing with any kind of chronic health conditions on any level, doing this on a regular basis is really going to make a difference, because it's truly the small steps that we do every day that impact our health. We don't just wake up one day with cancer or diabetes or heart disease. It is the small things we do on the daily that either support us in our aging process or kind of work against us in our aging process. So I just want to kind of plant that seed of the bigger vision of your lifestyle and how this can be a great time to bring in that consciousness and that awareness and make those shifts, but then think, how can I continue this on through the process of my life? So, and again, I just want to thank you to our cleanse team. There's so much work in the background that goes into this, everybody. You have no idea. And I do actually want to say that oftentimes if you go into your doctor's office or into a naturopathic clinic, you're going to be spending a lot of money to pay those practitioners, and all of our practitioners do offer their time for free. So I really want to give a huge shout out to all of you that have been putting in extra work, especially Asha and Dana. There's been a lot of energy and love being poured into this. So I'm really excited to see all the participation and excitement around it. So thanks, you too.
My pleasure, truly. Yes. Although I was resisting it when you guys first asked, I was like, really? A cleanse now? But it's the perfect time. It really is the perfect time. Usually when there's resistance, there's a reason and there's some momentum to move through it. And I'm super glad that we're doing this. Obviously, my body is too, showing up with a little cold here. I thank you guys all so much. I want to honor your time. We'll be back really soon on Tuesday at 10. I do want to let you know that I have a special guest coming, a dear friend. She's also a doTERRA user and loves the oils. She's new. And she's going to come talk to us about our relationship with our bodies. Now, this is primarily driven towards women, but if you're a man, I encourage you to come as well. But just absolutely pure love for our bodies, and how did we maybe get to some problems with it, right? And we're going to have that on Tuesday at 3 on the Facebook group. And yes, it will be recorded, and I will be moved over onto the website afterwards. Okay.
Yay.
All right. Thank you,
Well,
everyone.
have a lovely weekend, everybody. Happy shopping and prepping, and we'll see you. We'll start on Monday, and we'll see you on the call. Dana and I will see you Tuesday.
We'll see you Tuesday and the Monday on the Facebook group. So if you're like, what? We'll definitely be active there. Okay. Okay. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. Bye. Thanks so much.